In news that is shocking to no one, questions are arising as to whether or not Joe Biden actually signed some of his memos and executive orders because it appears they're all the AUTOPEN feature. For those that don't know what that is, basically in the world of business documents and business in general, we use DocuSign. Did I just give a shout out to that company? Are there other companies that do that? I don't know. Basically, whenever there's a document to be signed, you get sent an email and it's like, sign it electronically, and you click a button and it just puts a signature there. And the funny thing is, I'm just going to say it. I'm pretty sure everybody knows the auto-generated signatures for you is not your real signature, but no one cares. So, the funny thing is, the only issue that really is at play contractually with using these DocuSign services is whether or not you're willing to lie in court. Because we have signatures, right? And you'll draw yours out, and Trump's got this really fancy one. But someone will send you a DocuSign, and you'll just click the button, and it'll create a cursive version of your name, and you'll go, yeah, sure, whatever. It's not really your signature. You're just agreeing to sign a document, which is like, you're going to go to court and you'll be like, Your Honor, that's not my signature. And they're going to say, well, certainly not. It's an auto-generated cursive name. But did you sign this? And then you can decide whether you're going to lie or not. So I guess back in the day, not only did they have signatures, but they had seals. They had like a brass ring and it had it was engraved, and they would like stick it in the wax. So now the question is, was Joe Biden the actual president, or were some random people just signing his documents for him? Okay, well, there are questions as to whether or not Obama and Trump may have done the same thing, with some saying they did. So it's not really that big a deal. But no one would be surprised to find out that Biden's staff were largely doing the work for him, and he wasn't really the president. Aside from that, the other big news, of course, is the collapse of ActBlue and the continuing Doge layoffs. HHS just offered a $25,000 buyout to their staff. The bureaucratic machine is crumbling, as it were. And for those that missed the story from last week and the weekend, ActBlue, the Democrat fundraising machine, seems to be falling apart. So the big picture, Donald Trump, first thing he does when he gets in office is Doge. Democrats are apoplectic, and the question is, why? Why do they care so much about USAID? Well, perhaps it's because we do live, or had lived, in very much like a Chinese Communist Party state, only we didn't know it. I mean, we kind of did, but most people didn't. The funny thing is, you have the oligopoly, you have the autocracy of the deep state, as it were. The general idea, mechanisms in government funneled your taxpayer dollars to politicians to ensure that no one could defeat them in races, and the machines were all set up, I mean the political machines, not the physical machines, to make sure they won. That is, while it wasn't so militaristically absolute, largely, you as an independent personality running for office would never be able to go up against a politician who had direct access to the media narrative machine and unlimited funding that originates with government spending, navigates its way through NGOs, and then ends up in your pocket. Now that Trump is crushing all of that, it would seem the Democrat machine is done. Well, I got other big news. Aside from all of that, it would appear that BLM Plaza is being dismantled right now. And X is down. So a lot of people think that X is currently under attack. We'll see. We'll see. Excuse me. But I was still able to get the tweet of BLM Plaza being shut down, thanks to our good friends over at Patriots.win. But let's do this. Let's get started with this AutoPen signature scandal, which may not really be a direct scandal in the Biden administration, though I do think it is indicative of Biden wasn't really president. Trump and Obama both did similar things, according to Fox News. The question then becomes, the bigger scandal is, we are allowing the executive branch to be run by people who are not the president. Now, I don't think that Donald Trump had strangers signing documents. I think Joe Biden did. But if they're both using this auto sign feature, then we've got a bigger problem, because how are we supposed to know? But let's jump into the news. Before we do, my friends, you got to go to castbrew.com. Why? Because, well, we got delicious coffee. Everyone's favorite Ian's Graphene Dream in stock. Only 63 bags left, my friends. If you are listening to this, this is your last chance. I don't know when we're going to get a restock of Ian's Graphene Dream because y'all are buying it faster than we can make it. There are currently only 60. I can't believe this dude sold 1,000 bags in a week. Yo, Ian's Graphene Dream, ground coffee, 63 bags left. Get them while you can. You can always buy Appalachian Nights. I mean, we sold a couple hundred of these bags last week, but Ian's, hotcakes, as it were. Hotcakes. People buy hotcakes like crazy, apparently, and that's where the saying comes from. Don't forget to also go to timcastpremium.com. Sign up for Rumble Premium, my friends. You can click the link in the description below to get you transported right over to our Green Room podcast. Hang out behind the scenes with Hotep Jesus. Last Friday, talking about the grifties. Then we got the older millennial, and we were talking about sports and such, as well as TikTok, and why TikTok is evil. You got to be a Rumble Premium member, my friends. We need Rumble to win this one because the great battle is not over. I'm going to let you in on a secret. I talked about this on Friday. There are a lot of prominent personalities on the right that are doing YouTube ad reads for pharmaceutical drugs, and my jaw is on the floor. I'm not kidding. I'm seeing prominent right-wing hosts with millions of subs doing advertisements for prescription medication. And I was talking to Dr. Robert Malone after we wrapped the culture war last Friday. And I was saying, I think the next big move, people think we won. They're like, it's over, we won, the media is being crushed. I'm like, dude, not only are they going to put tens of millions of dollars into these liberal personalities, put them on billboards everywhere in the country, the right has been running afoul of federal trade law and FDA regulation. And I don't know that that's going to be the Trump administration that goes after these people. Probably not. But YouTube will. Hands down. So you got somebody with 3 million, 4 million subs. And I'm not kidding you. They've done these commercials, and some of you probably know what I'm talking about, where they've advertised prescription medication to individuals. And okay, so Dr. Malone was saying, you can't do that. Like, he's like, the FDA, it's illegal to advertise. I could be wrong, but I believe he said it's illegal to advertise a medication to someone who does not suffer from that, from that illness or whatever. That's why when you see pharmaceutical commercials, they'll be like, phenaptoperidone is for people with bipolar 1 disorder. Like, they outright say, this drug is for this thing. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you. I'm not a fan of actually, I love that commercial because of how sick and twisted it is. But I'm not a fan of pharmaceutical ads as it is. I'm telling you right now, these people have been getting paid to sell, and it's not just one. I saw one of these commercials that people, an ad read, and it's 3 different prescription drugs. And I'm like, dude, there's no way that, that's crazy, man. And they're marketing them directly as having drugs you don't need. I'm not kidding. And so I'm not going to get into great detail, but Dr. Malone was like, I can't believe the FDA hasn't cracked down. Here's what I think is going to happen. You wonder why they're not getting banned right now. And these ad sales guys are like, Tim, you should do these ads. I'm like, I will never do that ad. For one, I won't do pharmaceutical drugs. We don't believe in that. They shouldn't be doing that. And, it's not even legal. Yeah, but everyone does it. Now I'm like, oh, okay, so everyone's going to get banned. And they are. Not get me wrong. YouTube's going to find a reason to ban everybody, that I get. But they got one right now. And the narrative is going to come out that prominent personalities on the right were selling prescription drugs illegally. And that's going to be the narrative when they do get taken down. And they're going to say, it's not political. You shouldn't have done this. Now, the reason I bring this up is, for one, it's crazy to me that people are breaking the law. They shouldn't do that. At least I believe, to the best of my understanding, it's illegal. But outside of that, they are coming after us. And the battle is not done. So make sure you join Rumble Premium because it is not over, my friends. We need to win the free speech battle. And Rumble is the premier video podcasting platform. It really is. I'm not kidding. YouTube is largely views on, Mr. Beast and stuff like that, music videos. And they do have a strong video podcasting component, but they've censored and shadow banned, and they what's called the tiny room ban many of their video podcasts. Spotify is trying to play catch up, but their views are nowhere near Rumble's. I'm not kidding. It's true. And YouTube, while it does have natural viewership and is very big, it's in spite of the suppression. So Rumble's done the best job so far. We're going to win this one. Now, before we get into all the news, I want to jump to our good friends over at Patriots.win, my friends. Don't forget to smash the like button. Share the show right now. Take that URL, paste it everywhere. Let's get 1 billion users today. Let's just get 1 billion concurrent viewers. Before we get into the news about the AutoPen, we do have breaking news. Black Lives Matter Plaza is being shut down. Libs of TikTok says the world is healing. Well, Twitter, I'm sorry. I always do that. Don't you? X is currently down. I don't know why, but some people think it's a DDoS. I don't know. These things happen. But it appears that in the past hour, Black Lives Matter Plaza is being shuttered. And we have the video. Look at that. There she goes. For those that are just listening, you got a bunch of construction crews sitting right on top of Black Lives Matter Plaza. And this is the end, my friends. And I'm glad to see it. It's time to put an end to all this woke, sycophantic, desperate, cult-like garbage. There's another story, too, which is in this space of wokeness. And it was the lead singer of Against Me at Bernie Sanders' rally with this just like really disgusting song about God and things I'm not going to repeat. You can listen, I record a segment up at noon, but it's just another big story, and the left is desperate and has nothing to attach to anymore. And so I revel in this. You guys had every opportunity to stick to your core values and prove yourselves to be honorable, but the woke machine, the Democrats, they have exposed themselves as having no core morals or principles, and I'm happy. Basically, they took all the people of this great nation, threw them into a sieve, and shook as hard as they can, and the woke people went flying out. They had no morals to stick to. They stood for nothing, and they fell for everything. And that's it, right? They say, what's that? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. Is that how it goes? You'll fall for anything? Well, these liberals did. They easily believe or lie and pretend to believe the Democrat nonsense. They fell for every woke activist garbage nonsense and destroyed themselves. So here's the story, which was, bubbling up over the weekend. Biden used AutoPen's signature on many official White House documents, raising concerns over his awareness. And this story, published March 9th, ladies and gentlemen, that was my birthday yesterday. I'm officially 39 years old. I am an old man over the hill, or at least on top of it. So yesterday was my birthday. And if you want to get me a birthday present, you need only subscribe to this channel and share the show. And you can say, hey, you really should watch this show. And your friends are like, why should I watch it? Because it's Tim's birthday. And that's it. And they'll be like, that's the best reason I've ever heard. All right, here's the news from the New York Post. Dozens of executive orders signed by former President Joe Biden were authorized with identical AutoPen signatures, raising crucial questions about whether he was fully aware of what he was signing. Okay, first of all, I love this. So either he was just clicking sign, and not reading it, as you all know you've done, or someone else was doing it for him. But I just love the idea of him sitting there like his eyes half glazed over, like this picture right here. And they're like, just tap the space bar, Mr. President. He's like, arr! And he just hits the space bar and over again. And it just like sign, scroll, and he never read it. The Conservative Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project uncovered the situation, prompting Biden detractors, such as Republican Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, to suggest it could be used to challenge the legitimacy of orders that the 82-year-old former president signed, especially given the concerns about his cognition. I'm here for it. Also, shout out to Andrew Bailey. He is one of the most based AGs. He's been going off. And we're here for it. I am demanding the DOJ investigate whether President Biden's cognitive decline allowed unelected staff to push through radical policy without his knowing approval. I agree. If true, these executive orders, pardons, and other actions are unconstitutional and legally void. That being, his pardons. All those preemptive pardons, gone. One of the AutoPen signed orders from Biden was an August 2022 directive meant to safeguard abortion access during emergency situations, Heritage said. Another was a December 24 order to close government offices January 9, 25 to honor the late President Jimmy Carter. The Post conducted a random brief scan of about 36 signatures of executive orders in the Federal Register from President Trump, Obama to Biden at various times in their presidencies. All three men's different signatures did not appear to change, although the Post review was briefer and less comprehensive than the Heritage Foundation's. Interesting. So what are they suggesting? AutoPen signatures are produced by machine instead of done by hand. Scores of presidents dating back to at least Harry Truman are believed to have leaned on the modern AutoPen. What do they stamp things? We gathered every document we could find with Biden's signature over the course of his presidency. All used the same AutoPen signature, except the announcement the former president was dropping out of the race last year. I actually think that proves, or at least is indicative of the inverse. That is, the one that wasn't Biden was his resignation. I think they did that for him. The Oversight Project divulged examples of Biden's signatures on 2 executive orders that it surmised came from AutoPen and contrasted with an image of his signature to the letter announcing he was pulling out of the 24 race. Biden's signature on the 2 executive orders essentially looked identical, while the signature on the letter about withdrawing had slight differences, blah, blah. I don't need to explain the differences. Biden had been engaged in public signing ceremonies on numerous occasions throughout his presidency. It remains unclear exactly how much he used AutoPen. Reps for Biden did not respond to the Post request for comment. So this is interesting. It is being argued that everybody did this. It's not a big deal. Trump did it. Obama did it. And everybody had some form of this going way back. Seems to make sense. So I'm just going to pause. Does that mean that every president has been having unelected individuals sign papers in their name? Because I got questions. Now, I will also add the top layer to this. If you want to make the argument that Trump didn't, I got no problem. None whatsoever. Say, let's do this. We'll take Trump's first term. We'll take Joe Biden's only term. Maybe Joe Biden runs again and gets a non-consecutive term. I doubt it. And we will take a look at how many times they used AutoPen, and we will void all of them. How about that? Is that fine? Because I don't care if it was Trump or Biden. If they did not sign this and we can prove it, fine. But I will add on top of this. I believe it is reasonable to conclude, my friends, that Joe Biden, who is cognitively impaired and in decline, as even now Jake Tapper and CNN admit, did not sign these. And so, okay, Barack Obama AutoPen signed things. I mean, Obama's not an old guy, okay? Or at the time, he was not super old. I don't think he was sitting there, eyes half glazed over. I think it's probably his, and he's just like, yeah, it's fine. Trump, similarly, Trump is spry. Yeah, I know they want to make the argument Trump's in decline. He's not. Did you? What was that? Let me see if I can find this before I quote a fake meme. Because what do we have here? Donald Trump celebrates Irish in America ahead of leader's visit. Trump continues Irish American Heritage Month. This quote from Trump must be read. Can I get the full quote? Please tell me they have the full Trump tweet from Donald Trump. They voted for me in heavy numbers. Okay, come on. Where's the tweet from Trump? Donald Trump celebrates. If I can't find it, that's too bad. But what did he say? They're great people. They're great people. What? Nobody's showing his full remarks. It's because he's too funny. That's why. Wait, hold on. There we go. We got it. I got it. Okay. Anyway, here's why I think Trump is spry. While signing the order, Trump told reporters in attendance at the White House, Irish Americans voted for me in heavy numbers, so I like them even more. You have to like it. I know you're not. I know you're not supposed to, but you have to like that. It's funny, and people were like, "You have to. You have to like it. You're not supposed to, but you have to." And we know he's not talking about the Irish, but everybody took it to insinuate that he was basically saying, "You're not supposed to like the Irish, but you have to." And he's got a bunch of quips like that, where people are like, oh, come on, dude. He's clearly spry, okay? And that being said, like I already mentioned, Democrats, I can hear you whinging and screaming and posting fake news. I already said we can do a review of Donald Trump and Joe Biden and check to see if they actually knew what they were signing. And I'm going to tell you, Joe Biden won't be able to prove it. Donald Trump's going to be like, yes, I did. Yeah, I did that. And he's going to be able to answer questions where you're like, he's clearly old, but he's clearly with it. Come on, everybody knows Joe Biden ain't with it. He ain't there, ladies and gentlemen. So the questions I have over the AutoPen thing are, with the position that we're in now with elderly presidents, I'm going to go ahead and say Donald Trump should not be using auto signatures at all. My understanding is, as of this term, he's mostly used those big marker pens or whatever, and he's been handing them out and being like, this is the pen from this one and this one. But considering the scandal, considering we know that Joe Biden was in cognitive decline, I bet we could easily prove he did not sign some of these. And probably is true for all presidents, okay? And that's why it's like, maybe it's not the biggest scandal in the world targeting Biden. It's a scandal nonetheless. It's only just coming out now. Let's put an end to this practice. Because we have the story from The Independent, and they basically said the same thing. Fox News found that every president does it. I love how when this story starts, because they're a leftist rag, they try to defend Joe Biden. They say former President Joe Biden has been accused of using the same automatic signature to sign a raft of documents while in office, a new report says. The same? Right. They're trying to start the story off. This is called information vaccination. We talk about this all the time. Get certain information in front of the story to change the person's perspective on it. So the example, if the easiest one is the Very Fine People hoax. If you did not know that Trump condemned neo-Nazis, like so many people, they saw the clip of Trump saying they were verified people on both sides. And then they were like, oh my God, he defended Nazis. Then when anyone tried to claim he didn't, they'd say, I saw the video. Not realizing they didn't see the full video. Information vaccination is you show someone the full video the moment it happens before it's a story. So then the average person says, oh, Trump said, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists. Then when the fake news comes out, they go, hey, wait a minute. That's fake. I saw the video. You see the point? So this is another tactic in that. They want to make sure they start the story off by saying other presidents have done this. Presidents, including Donald Trump, have been using automatic signatures to sign documents since the Obama administration. Well, perhaps even longer than that. You see how they try and frame it so that it's actually Biden didn't do anything. Okay, here's the scandal. The scandal is not entirely that Obama and Trump did this. It is kind of scandalous, but it's more so hey, I don't know if we should be doing that. The bigger scandal is they covered up Joe Biden's cognitive decline. They now admit he's in cognitive decline. And when you combine that with a machine that will plant his signature on documents without needing him, there are questions as to whether or not Joe Biden was functional enough to actually have signed these documents. It is not a question of is Trump cognitively sound or Obama. The issue is we know Joe Biden was not. Therefore, we don't know if these are legitimate signatures because he did not sign them. A robot did. Hence, the smaller scandal is maybe presidents shouldn't be allowed to do that. I would say so. The exact number of documents reviewed was not immediately clear. But my friends, it is all just coming crumbling down. The Democrat machine, the deep state machine is in free fall, and I am here for it. I hope you are all too. Talk about the best birthday ever. Can I tell you guys about my birthday? Get a little personal for you. Yesterday was my birthday, and it is a glorious, glorious time. Man, I think this might be it. I don't know that life gets any better. I hope. But I don't know. From here, it might all be downhill. So it is my birthday, and I hung out with the family, my new niece, and my own child. And that was very, very fun. Had a baby, got married. And while I'm sitting here enjoying the best days of my personal life, and forgive me if it sounds like I'm gloating because I know not everybody's living so well, but, you know, here I am. We got to deal with Rumble going on. We're launching new marketing campaigns. We're just taking the world by storm. And while all this great personal stuff is happening with the family, and again, my birthday, Donald Trump is crushing the deep state. And I'm floating on cloud 9. I don't know what's up with cloud 8 or 10, but 9 seems to be the good one, and I am there. So I can turn on the news, and it's just like every day, it's like Trump does great thing. And then it's almost like the news anchor goes, happy birthday, Tim, winks at me. And I'm like, wow, things are great. Here we go. DC's Black Lives Matter mural will be erased. We had some dark days, didn't we? We had some dark days. But I already showed you the video of them erasing it. And this is a component of their machine. It's symbolic. It's not like it's the biggest thing, but it's symbolic. Now we have this. And I'm loving that the source here is Times of India, because I got to be honest, I just Google these things and they pop up. 5 ActBlue funded groups behind Tesla protest. Elon Musk alleges Tesla protests politically motivated, names George Soros and Reid Hoffman as backers. Let me pull up this. I got a tweet I didn't pull up. I'm going to pull it up now. Oh, that's right, because X is back. I was trying to pull up this this video for the show, but X has been down quite a bit. So let me see if I can find this one. Here we go. We have this tweet from Jacob, and he says, maybe it's sarcasm, but this Tesla protester just admitted to getting paid. So let's slow down. Why are we in the ActBlue thing? So the big story over the past weekend was that ActBlue is in chaos. 7 senior officials have left the group. There's questions about funding. For those that don't know, ActBlue is the digital fundraising platform for the entire Democratic Party and their NGO apparatus. I'm sure they use other services too, but this is a big one. James O'Keefe uncovered that there were hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions from elderly people who don't have that much money. Several other investigations have been launched, and now there are investigations into ActBlue as to how a random 70-year-old man in Connecticut was able to donate $300,000 in 1 year, or in like a couple of years, sometimes doing like 15 donations in one day in small number amounts. And when these people were asked, they say, I don't make donations. So where's the money coming from? The theory? With USAID being shut down, money was being granted to various NGOs, which would be funneled offshore and then cycled back through phony accounts through ActBlue to various candidates. That was the subversive. Then there was the standard versive, which is some of these NGOs would then make contributions with the money they received to various politicians. Meaning it wasn't so much that it was a secret, but nobody was looking. And then, of course, there's the superversive, where the individuals would straight up announce massive contributions in marketing materials to these individuals, largely with grant money coming from various government sources. That's the theory. With the gutting of USAID and the freezing of payments and Doge's work, the working theory now is that ActBlue is no longer able to sustain itself. Let me tell you this story, my friends, that we've talked about quite a bit. Various nonprofits. Actually, no, let's not even play the nonprofit game. Let's talk about like Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom was under fire because it was reported he had promoted a firefighter fund of some sort. It said, donate here to help wildfire firefighters. Wildfires? Anyway, I digress. And when you click the link to donate, instead of going directly to the website, it funneled you through ActBlue. And this is the dirty game. When you would donate to anyone through ActBlue, they would tell you your donation will be delivered to these people minus a small fee for processing. And now many people say, yeah, but so what, right? The money is going to the cause, except for the processing fee, which goes through ActBlue. And of course, ActBlue is going to shave a little off the top to run the books. Let me simplify this for you. Donald Trump wanted to host the G7 during his first term at Trump Doral. He said he would host them at cost, saving the government money. I and many others said, no way. Conflict of interest. Here's why. If Donald Trump's Doral golf course is not booked and available for booking, he loses money. He still has to pay the people on staff. They've got to be there. It's a reduced staff, of course, but there's still a loss of money on utilities, property tax, etc. At cost means he's still saving money. Not losing is better than losing, so it's still a conflict of interest. When ActBlue says, like, hey, you want to donate to Tim Pool? And then you run it through some service, and then it comes to me, and they take 3% or whatever the number is. They're using that to pay their staff and hard infrastructure costs. They're shaving money off the top of your donation in their pockets. That's the ActBlue scandal. Well, now they seem to be in disarray, and they may be crumbling, which is where we get to this story, where Elon Musk claims that several ActBlue-funded groups are behind the protests. It's one big happy family tree, son, and some would suggest is straight-up treason. Ha-ha! Elon Musk has claimed that a coordinated campaign is being waged against his company Tesla, alleging that multiple activist groups are behind recent protests against the electric vehicle giant. In a social media post, Musk suggested that the organizations involved in these demonstrations are funded by ActBlue, a major Democrat fundraising platform. Well, I give you this clip. Take a listen.
You have an opinion on that, or are you just getting paid?
Yeah, I get paid to be out here.
You get paid to be out here?
Yeah.
Amazing. So some PAC
You really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this.
I think it's interesting the way he says this. I'm going to play this clip for you again, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. The question is this protester outside of a Tesla being sarcastic, 100% I'm getting paid for this? Or is he being serious?
You have an opinion on that, or are you just getting paid?
Yeah, I get paid to be out here.
You get paid to be out here?
Yeah.
See, that did not sound like sarcasm. Yeah, I get paid to be out here. Probably does. And then when he gets asked again, maybe he's like,
Amazing. So some pack.
You really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this.
So I'll tell you what I think. I don't know. This tweet says maybe it's sarcasm, but this Tesla protester just admitted to getting paid. The left is going to argue he's clearly joking. He's being sarcastic. He's protesting. Yeah, they do pay people to do things like this. They do. The question is, are they legally required to disclose that they are paid to be there or not? I don't know. You probably could just say nothing. But this is quote unquote campaign work. I think they're being paid. I think a lot of the protests are paid, but let me explain. I've told you guys this story before. Let me break it down. They don't, when you see a crowd of 1,000 people, they're not paying them all. People are like, I saw buses load them in. No, hold on. Paid protests are when they hire two people who will then go to a university or a park, flyer, rally people to create a mass protest. You don't need to pay 1,000 people to show up. They're bored. They'll do it anyway. Now, some people say, yeah, but Tim, buses came in and people came off. That's right. That's right. The buses were paid for. The individuals that came off of them were not. That's the important point. They're not paying people to protest. They're paying for the protests to happen. That's obvious. And the response the liberals are going to give you is, well, yeah, of course. I mean, we got to have permits and organizing. So, of course, we were going to do that. Musk further named high-profile individuals, including billionaire philanthropist George Soros, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and hedge fund investor Herbert Sandler as financial backers of the groups. These allegations come at a time when Tesla is facing criticism from activists. Okay, look, there was a Cybertruck just torched the other day or a couple days ago. Tesla charging stations have been torched. Tesla shops have had their windows smashed out. They've been shot up. Someone was arrested, a trans woman, for trying to plant bombs. So I don't think it's all incidental. Now, I'm not saying that anyone's paying people to go and commit acts of terrorism. I'm saying the low-level stuff doesn't seem to align with the high-level stuff. I think it's possible that there is paid organization to rally hate and anger at Tesla. What's their stock currently at? Let's take a look. Because Tesla stock has been going down. But to be fair, stocks in general are way down. Woo! Wow, the market is so far down. Oh my God. Holy crap. Jeez. Spotify is down in 1 week 20%? Jeez, man. Anyway, where's Tesla? Tesla is down quite a bit. In the past month, Tesla is down 30%. Yikes. In the past week, 19.83%. The market is taking a hit. Blame Trump, blame tariffs. I am going to celebrate those tariffs until the sun goes down or until the cows come home or whatever the saying is. But I do think a lot of the protests are coordinated by activist organizations. You don't need to hire 2,000 people. You just hire two campaign organizers, and they act like that's normal. But let's talk about more. We got more, my friends. Of course, we got the House Republicans seeking details on ActBlue's donation fraud. Interesting. Don't forget, my friends, to smash that like button if you are watching and share the show with everyone you know. Hey, yesterday was my birthday. And as it was a beautiful Sunday, I hung out with the family, watched TV shows and movies with the wife and the daughter, and we made pizzas from scratch. Homemade stuffed crust pizzas. That's all that really matters. But if you want to get me a birthday present, just share the show. And more importantly, two things you can do. Go to rumble.com/TimcastIRL and join Rumble Premium to watch our Green Room show. It's a lot of fun. And also, head over to timcast.com. Join the Discord community. Let me see if I can pull up the Discord. We got it right here for you. Join the Discord community right here. We got 20,000 plus individuals all hanging out. If you want to be an active participant in the culture war, if you want to get involved and make a difference, here's one way to get started. We're trying to make it easy for you. It's $10 a month. You go to timcast.com. You click join us right there. You join the Discord server and bang, you're instantly hanging out with 20,000 plus people and they're talking business. And maybe you're going to be like, I got an idea that can change the world. And instantly 20,000 people have heard what you had to say. So get involved, man. It really is important. We're doing a lot of great work there. And of course, Rumble Premium shows are going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, I'll give you the quick hit on the investigation in ActBlue as we wrap up the paid protester saga things. And let's do this. Let's do one like equals one investigate ActBlue. Get that going. And this is from December. The Examiner said that the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and Brian Steele are seeking information from fraud detection company SIFT over its work with ActBlue. ActBlue is the main source used by Democrats and aligned groups for taking political donations, and it's been under scrutiny over alleged fraud and irregularities with the donations made on the platform. In October, Steele issued a subpoena to ActBlue for documents related to their donor verification policies. And on Monday, the two committee chairmen sent a letter to the company which provides ActBlue's fraud detection and prevention services for information and documents about its work with ActBlue. This has been going on for some time. So the reason I bring this one up, we don't know that it's because of USAID being targeted that ActBlue is in trouble. It may actually be that the investigations from last year are just now hitting core infrastructure. The theory, of course, I mentioned is that people think ActBlue money was going to NGOs and then finding its way after the fact into the pockets of politicians through ActBlue, and a portion of that, of course, was shaved off the top for ActBlue, not to mention certain payments and services to the company itself. I wonder if these investigations last year triggered a stop in the fraudulent moves because once the eyeballs are on you, you can't keep going. And thus, a few months later, they cannot afford to keep people on anymore. So it all comes crashing down. So what do we got? The AUTOPEN scandal. Is Biden functioning? Was he? And did he sign these documents? I doubt it. We've got USAID's gutting, ActBlue's collapse, and then, of course, Trump has not stopped. This story from 2 days ago. All HHS workers given $25,000 voluntary buyout offer, source says. Oh, here we go. All employees in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services were notified Friday of the option to voluntarily resign in exchange for a $25,000 payment, a source familiar with the situation told CBS News. The department-wide email offered a voluntary separation incentive payment, the source said. Employees have been given until a deadline of March 14th to reply. Friday's offer is part of the Trump administration's effort to slash the size of the federal workforce and shrink the government's budget through mass layoffs and financial cuts. That process has been primarily carried out through the White House's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, led by billionaire Elon Musk. Federal agencies announced more than 62,200 job cuts in February, a number which surged U.S. layoffs to their highest mark since July 2020. Let's go! I got other news for you, my friends. The rumors circulating right now is that Donald Trump is going to effectively end the federal government. I know, you may be saying, wait, what? End the federal government? The rumor is Trump is trying to do as much damage to the federal system as possible so that states become the principal stakeholders and power structures in this country. What's fascinating there is this will make everyone's lives better. This will dramatically, this is the reversal we need. You know why? Some have suggested, we were talking about this yesterday. Okay, but if Trump basically guts the IRS, 45,000 potential layoffs coming, income tax erased, maybe we go to a tariff-only system, who knows? What's going to happen at the state level? They're just going to raise your taxes? Well, why would the states raise your taxes? That's not what's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, if the feds get gutted, the states will lower your taxes. You know why? They will be competing with each other. That's right. They already do this. But because state taxes are relatively low compared to the federal government, most people don't really think all that much about it. Depending on where you live, it matters, right? If you live in any tri-state area, for instance, or the border between any two states, then certainly it matters. If you are in Chicago, you're thinking we got headquarters in Wisconsin, Illinois, or Indiana. Then you've got Delmarva, obviously. But then you've got Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia tri-state. And for us running this business, it's very easy for us to choose a different state to be in. Not to mention, it's the quad state, technically, with PA only 40 minutes north of where we're at. So we could choose to set up our HQ just north of where we are in PA. And it's still, if we do it near Gettysburg, we're only, like an hour 40, 2 hours from DC. Not all that hard to do. Not to mention lots of big airports. So for us, we can take a look at which state is doing right by the small business and by business in general, and then choose to go there. I think West Virginia is going to be doing some really awesome things moving forward. And we are actively challenging their law on the banning of independent contractors. So West Virginia still may be the best state in this regard. If Donald Trump does what we think, or I should say this, if the rumors are true, y'all are going to be happier than pigs in ish, as the saying goes. Federal government regulations slashed, rapid market competition. Different states are going to be offering up different incentives, trying to generate as much revenue as possible and able to, and it will be mass market expansion. I believe that decentralization is the best thing. Look, it's not all bad. I'm not anti-government. I am not anti-tax. I'm largely anti-tax, largely anti-centralized government. The issue is the federal government is supposed to be small. It's supposed to provide for the common defense. And take a look at how a system like that would operate. The federal government guarantees our rights under the Constitution, guarantees that for the national defense, handles with border security and things like that. But the states handle their own stuff. Imagine if it actually functioned that way and states were actually competitive and the federal government was substantially weaker. The federal government could only operate as how the states wanted it to operate and wars were not a thing. It would be beautiful. New York would have to get rid of a bunch of its laws. They'd have to try and compete with neighboring states, and interesting things would happen. Federal funding would evaporate from many of these states, and they would cease to operate as wards of the federal government. I know what the urban liberals are already saying. They're saying, ha-ha, Republicans, this means that you will be left wanting because you're the largest recipients of federal grants. We don't want the welfare. We don't need the welfare, and the welfare is bad. What we need is for West Virginia to say, we're going to cut regulations, and it's going to be easier to open a business here than anywhere else. Why? Well, because then you've got Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, not to mention Tennessee and other states that are bordering West Virginia, where people can be like, hey, look, we can jump 2 miles over the border from Ohio into West Virginia, and we are going to save 13% per year off of these regulations and these taxes. That's the game that's supposed to be being played. Instead, what happens is you get these politicians that are just like, we get federal grant money, so who cares? We don't need to worry about it. Who cares? Okay. Let's stop. Let's shut her down. How hard have U.S. agencies been hit by Trump and Musk's Doge layoffs? How hard indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest. The Trump admin has yet to give a total number. Here are the details so far. The VA is planning to cut more than 80,000 workers from the agency, according to an internal memo. I'm a little worried. Don't get me wrong. They said the VA's chief of staff, Christopher Cyrek, sent the memo to senior agency officials, telling them the goal was to return the agency to 2019 staffing, just under 400,000. Are you kidding me? Since 2019, they added 82,000 people? What the? Well, I hope the VA works, okay? And I've heard complaints about it, but I hope things are going well, because if anybody deserves to be taken care of, it's our veterans. The Pentagon says it will cut 5,400 jobs. That is not enough. They've got 950,000 civilian workers. Ultimately, they want to drop it by 5% to 8%. Sure, which is going to end up being around 80 some odd thousand. So, or it's going to be between 45 to like 80,000. Hopefully. They were anticipating 50,000. USAID, pretty sure all of them. They say, they claim USAID oversees humanitarian assistance. Stop lying. Gender studies plays is not humanitarian assistance. All direct hires So there's only going to be about 1,600 put on leave, and 1,600 personnel will be cut. The IRS. Now, is this an old story? They say they started the process of firing 12,000 employees, largely affecting workers hired under the Biden admin, as part of an effort to target fraud among wealthy taxpayers. Lies, lies, and more lies. You don't need 87,000 employees to go after a handful of billionaires. You don't. You need law firms, and then you contract them out. Overall, the tax collecting agency has about 100,000 employees. The 12,000 cuts include 7,000 probationary employees and 5,000 workers. And the estimates are, of the remaining 90,000, half may be fired. Oh boy, the CIA has fired a slew of recent hires this week. 3 people familiar with the matter said cuts that current and former U.S. intelligence officers warned would risk damaging U.S. national security. Oh no! Reuters cannot determine the exact number. Makes sense. At least 75 career DOJ lawyers and FBI officials who normally keep their roles from admin to admin have either resigned, been fired, or stripped of their posts. Amazing. Oh man, look at this. Department of the Interior, around 2,300 workers were laid off. This is fantastic. Guys, I hope this list is just very fun for all of you. Overall, the department employs more than 70,000 people and oversees 500 million acres of public lands, including dozens of national parks. Oh, man, the Department of Agriculture. I'm just loving it. Can you just give me a big list of everybody who got fired? 3,400 probationary employees of the Department of Ag. Department of State, what do we have here? The Trump admin has asked U.S. missions worldwide to prepare for staff cuts. Some embassies have been asked to look into reducing both U.S. as well as locally employed staff by 10%. HHS, well, they're saying 1,300 at the CDC, 1,165 at NIH. FDA is planning to rehire around 300 people. And the Department of Health and Human Services, they're saying around 5,200 employees have lost their jobs. 7,000 from Social Security. Oh boy, NOAA lost 800. This is crazy. 700 from the Department of Energy. The EPA they fired 388 probationary employees. The agency has also placed on leave nearly 200 employees who work on environmental justice programs. The FAA fired more than 300 out of 45,000, so not really a big deal. The Department of Education, this one's great, because they say that at least 160 recent hires have been notified of their termination. Trump has called for the dissolution of the entire department and its 4,400 employees. And the rumor last week was that Donald Trump was going to sign an executive order to bring about its end. I don't know where we're at with that yet. Let me double check. Trump Department of Education. Let's see where we're currently at. Trump takes aim. He wants to dismantle it. So he has not yet done it, but there are a bunch of stories about it may be about to end. Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC. Did any of you even know that existed? They want to, they say, fired 76 probationary employees. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is nuts. I didn't realize how extensive this was. I want to give a hand to Elon Musk for all of this. Fire more people, please. Roughly 140 to 200 of the agency's probationary employees. So basically, when they nuked federal probationary employees, it hit a bunch of agencies. The GSA, they got more than 12,000 workers. GSA leaders have been told that staff and spending is expected to be cut across by about 50%. The Office of Personnel Management lost, handles human resources, were fired. All probationary employees, about 100 people. National Highway Traffic Safety, oh man, they laid off 4%. Under Joe Biden, they grew by 30, so yikes. Still not very big. It's only 800 people. The SBA, 45 probationary employees at the SBA were fired in a letter seen by Reuters. This has been, it's been so great, my friends. I've been having a good time. And I'll round this off by talking about the tariffs, the economy, and oh boy, the market. Let's take a look at stock prices because it is bad news. I've been saying, man, Trump needs to get a handle on this stuff, but I got to be honest. The market's going down and a lot of people are getting rich. You see, anybody who was paying attention when they were all saying the market's going to take a hit, it's going to get bad. Yeah, short sellers came in and they're probably making bank off of this. So if you're not familiar with how a short sale works, I'm not the financial guy, but I'll give you the general explanation. Basically, what you do is you got Jim to my left and Bill to my right. I say, hey, Jim, let me borrow that $10 stock from you and I'll pay you back. I'll borrow it from you. I'll give it back to you at some point, all right? And Jim says, here you go, buddy. So I'm borrowing that. I then look at Bill to my right and say, hey, Bill, you want to buy this for $10? And he goes, sure. He pays me $10. Now he's got the stock. I got the $10. And then I'm hoping the price of the stock's going to go down. So next week, the stock value goes from $10 to $5. Jim then says, hey, you got that stock back? Can I have it back? I go, yeah, no problem. I reach out to the market and I say, I got $5. Buy a stock for $5. Hand it back to Jim. Everybody's been made whole, and I'm holding an extra $5 bill. That's a short sale. The scary thing is you have infinite losses. So let's say I borrow that stock from homie Jim. I'm holding on to it, and I say, hey, Bill, you want to buy this $10? He buys it. Next week, the stock's at $30, and I'm like, oh, crap. That means I need $30 I'm going to lose $20. I only got 10 from that guy. Let's say it then jumps to 100. Oh, man. Now I'm down $90. Let's say you had 1 million of these. Real brutal. So shorts are dangerous, but if the tariffs were coming in and you knew it, then you could short and you'd probably make millions upon millions of dollars. Selling the stock now, buying it back, and then giving back to the homie at the lower cost. I'm going to tell you about the tariffs, my friends. We also have this from AOC and Anna Paulina Luna. They want to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. And the libertarians are apoplectic. My libertarian friends, they're crying, oh, the tariffs, but my cheap Mexican-made cars. I'm so happy. Could not be happier. There were some reports that skateboards were through the roof. And I love the reaction from people like, I don't care about your industry and the jobs that your people work at. So I tweeted at Austin Peterson tweeted something about the tariffs being bad. I said, they're good. I love them. Skateboard costs are down. And then he made a snide comment where he was like, I'm glad. He's like, I didn't think about skateboards. I was trying to buy a minivan for my family before prices went up. And I'm like, ain't that the myopic libertarian worldview? Your industry and your jobs don't matter as much as mine. My worldview is more important than yours. Let me draw disdain for what I view to be an inconsequential element within the market, the skateboard. And it's funny because what he's basically saying is the American worker doesn't matter. That's what he said to me. So my response to the tariffs was, it's great. Prices are already coming down and skateboard manufacturing is starting to return to the United States. U.S. companies are becoming more competitive. And this means that the Chinese and Mexican-made skateboards are now too expensive. Too expensive. With the tariffs coming in, we have to send wood to China to make the board and bring it back. The costs of that are becoming tremendous. So why would anyone want to buy a Chinese-made skateboard when they're no longer cheaper? They're now more expensive. People have begun to look for ways to get skateboards made for their shops. This is not about a toy or a piece of athletic equipment. It is about the multi-billion-dollar industry which was gutted from this country and every single human being who lost their jobs to outsourcing. It's not about the skateboard. It is about the outsourcing. But of course, the myopic libertarian view is if it saves me $5,000 today, who cares if it destroys the country tomorrow? Sorry. Many of these libertarians don't care for this country. There's, I guess we can call them the lolberts. Graph go up. Graph go up. Let me tell you, what I like about the Mises Caucus, not everybody, but generally, is they recognize libertarianism is a good thing so long as we secure our borders. You cannot, as a country, compete with slave labor. The American worker wants to manufacture, insert product, any product, be it a car or a skateboard. They cannot compete with slave labor. So the companies will always run their manufacturing in nations where they get slave labor because the cost of a slave is nothing. And if the cost of transportation is only 10% of employing an American worker, we know where that's going. So I'm very happy with where we are. Very happy. But I'll save some of this for later segments. For now, I will grab some super chats from all y'alls. So get your Rumble Rants super chats in and smash the like button and share the show. All right. Moonlight says, Tim, did you watch the new Jubilee video? Sam Cedar gaslights And Farm Clips 20 conservatives, no idea. And Farm Clips, I don't know what that is. Sam Cedar gaslights? Is that when he lied about stuff? Is that? I'm not surprised what they do, you know. Greg Duvier says, Tim, if I remember correctly, the Uber laws were made so people that worked for the rideshare companies 40 plus hours wanted benefits, but were denied benefits because they were not full-time employees. And I don't respect that at all. The issue is not about workers' benefits. It's about states losing tax revenue because the states get employment tax, and they were upset that it wasn't being paid to them. So West Virginia, in the smarmiest, scumbaggiest of ways, you know, look, I got to be honest. I think many of the West Virginia politicians want the state to be impoverished. They want it to be a playground for D.C. individuals. I'm not kidding. They're like, look, if you live in D.C., you can drive an hour and a half out, and you are in beautiful rural West Virginia. We don't want the state to succeed. We don't want the people who live to benefit and build bigger homes. We want the property to be cheap, so we have summer homes just outside of D.C., and that's what they do. Many of the houses out here on the river, Airbnbs. They're massive properties that are half the cost, and so it's like, I can live within an hour's commute of D.C. and have riverfront property with 10 acres for dirt, so long as the state keeps failing. I think they intentionally do that. And so what ends up happening is they say, I got an idea. Let's make it so that if anybody wants to contract in any way with West Virginia, they have to be in West Virginia. Yep. So what the state told us is that all contractors must operate within the state. You cannot contract anyone outside of the state. So how does that translate? Elad, for instance, he lives in New York. He works here insofar as you notice sometimes he appears on Timcast IRL. I never know when he will be here. He does not get paid for his appearances on the show. However, he does frequently license content to us, and so he is our de facto on-call reporter. Meaning, I don't know what he's covering. I don't know when he's going to cover it. Sometimes he covers a story, sends us the footage a day after, and we grumble and we're like, don't know if we want to buy it this time. But we usually do. And I'm not trying to drag the guy. I'm pointing this out because the state of West Virginia said Elad is a full-time employee. Full-time. And it's like, the dude's here once every other month. We don't know when he shows up. He just hits up Serge and says, hey, I'm coming by because I'm in D.C. And we're like, okay. He'll hit us up and be like, hey, I covered this protest. Do you want it? We'll be like, yeah, sure, let's run it. West Virginia has basically said you cannot buy the rights to content. You can't contract talent. They are trying to intentionally burn the state down. Now, what's interesting is this new artificial dye ban is massive. But hold on. It's passed in the legislature, in the House and the Senate of West Virginia. And it is a ban on artificial food dyes in food and in schools. Crazy. The governor could still veto it. We like the governor. He's pretty based. He was the former AG. And West Virginia is nuking DEI. So we are confident. However, money talks and BS walks. I want to say this. If you're listening out there, we got to get word to RFK Jr. and to the Maha movement. We need to make sure West Virginia has all of the support the country can muster to make sure this law gets signed. It says that by January of 2027, foods with artificial dyes cannot be sold. No more tartrazine coal tar derivatives. What are those little red dye mites? I got to get the name of it. Red dye mite. They are called cochineal. Cochineal mites. The bugs that are used, so disgusting. Cochineal mites for red dye. Meet the bug you eat every day. Remember when they said you will eat the bugs? And you were like, no, I won't. Well, you do. Here you go. Hey, Texas, meet the red bug you had no idea you were eating regularly. That's right. Look at that beautiful little bug. You eat that every day. It's got an aluminum derivative in it, some like aluminum compound that is bright red, and they breed these things and mash them up, and then they put them in cakes, licorice, jams, canned cherries, and more. Why? Well, because they're bright red. And the little insects that you eat every day. So all the people who said, I won't eat the bugs, you're eating the bugs every single day. Every day. You have a Pop-Tart, ate the bugs. Anything with red dye, I think this is particularly red dye 40, right? It says, take a good look. You're probably eating it. Cochineal mite. How amazing. The cochineal mite. Is that red dye 40? Let me make sure. Red dye 40. Let's see what red dye 40 is made of. Allura red. Usually supplied as a red sodium. Maybe it's not red 40. Who gave this a name? What is it made? 1980. Amaranth. Huh, interesting. Amaranth is the name of red dye number 2. So where does it? Cotton candy, cherry flavored drinks. Allura. Let's see. Heavily studied chronic exposure to dyes. Oh, wow. Look at this. Let me just show you guys. They say that Allura red has been heavily studied in food safety groups, remains in wide use. However, chronic exposure to the dye has been shown to increase susceptibility to bowel disorders in mice. We do have a massive rise in colon cancers. Maybe that's something. So I don't know. Here we go. UK studied tartrazine, Allura red, Ponchu 4R, quinoline, yellow, sunset yellow. Interesting. Sodium benzoate. They found a possible link between the consumptions of these artificial colors and sodium benzoate and increased hyperactivity in children. Perhaps. Either way. I do got to wrap things up. We just need to make sure that all the major food producers that are threatening West Virginia, because you know the lobbies are going to come in and they're going to say, I don't want to spend billions of dollars changing our food products. If West Virginia doesn't get the support it needs, we could see this bill vetoed. So we need Maha to come in here and help out. My friends, that's going to do it for the morning show. Smash the like button, share the show, join Rumble Premium. Use promo code TIM10 to get $10 off your annual membership and watch the Green Room podcast. We are back at noon with another segment. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Let me show you what we got going on Instagram. You're going to love it. Everyone agrees. We'll show you one quick video. This thing pulls up. It's got 500,000 views. This was from the this Friday. Take a look at this. That, in fact, was a man in a pogo stick front flipping over a Cybertruck. So follow me on Instagram. All right, everybody, we got more coming up. You can also go to boonieshq.com, pick up a skateboard. We will see you all at noon, and thanks for hanging out.